What is up, guys? Welcome back to Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another Walking Dead video for today. This one we're going to be doing a video talking about The Walking Dead, but we are going to talk about today 5 episodes, in my personal opinion, that are just pointless or they're just simply useless episodes that could have been either blended into other episodes or could have been X'd out and just cut out of the show completely. I want to give my thoughts on that, so let's get started. Okay guys, this is going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today. Of course, this one is going to be a very, very different video. I've never actually done a video like this where we don't really talk about something we like. We don't really talk about something we hate. We talk about something that was just useless, honestly. And honestly, this is a video I just think has to be done. I think it's a video that needs to be kind of addressed, made, and I think a lot of people, I'd love to hear a lot of, people's opinions on this topic. So, we're going to rate in today's video, of course, which is a very, very hard thing to do since, as you guys know, The Walking Dead is, in my opinion, the best TV show, but I'm still going to do this video. I still think it's a video that I think people would like, and I still think that this is a video that a lot of people are probably going to want to share their opinions on, and maybe they can pick their 5 as well in the comment section below. Now, these are going to be the top 5, or at least the 5 most pointless episodes of Walking Dead. So I want to specify, this list is not going to be about anything about if I like the episode, if I don't like the episode. Those two things do not matter in this video. If I like the episode, I dislike it, I'm not even going to really talk about that much. I'm going to talk about these 5 episodes on the list and why I personally think that these are the 5 episodes of Walking Dead that are the most pointless and that they could have maybe either spliced up some of this stuff in other episodes and not made a full episode of this stuff, or X out all this stuff completely. That's what these 5 episodes are going to be about. So, without further ado, I definitely want to bring up some honorable mentions, and then we'll get into the list. Now, coming in at a very close one that was very close to being on the list, I have The Big Scary You, this episode right here. This episode just wasn't very useful to the story. They really could have, trimmed a lot. Daryl versus Rick, it honestly didn't even need to happen. We knew Daryl was reckless already, and we knew that why Negan was the way he is around the Saviors and stuff. I just didn't find it to be a very interesting episode. The other one that is very close to making it on the list, the other honorable mention I got very close to putting on the list is Season 1, Episode 6, TS-19. Now, this episode for me is just not, it's not useful in a lot of ways. I feel like, you have the you're all infected thing that Jenner says, but minus that, I mean, I don't know, Jackie dying, that didn't really matter to me. She wasn't that big of a character to begin with, and her death doesn't really affect the story all that much, and it's basically just a dead end. I mean, really, the CDC, that's all it is, and I have to put it as a very pointless episode and a very useless episode, just for right now. Just kind of my personal opinion. Now, getting into the list. So, number 5 is going to be The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 12, Still. So, now this episode, like I said, we're not going to talk about the enjoyment of the episode. We're just going to talk about kind of in terms of what does it do for the story. Now, the reason why I have this one at number 5 is because, honestly, I do not see the point of this episode. I like how they have Beth and Daryl and kind of how they create a bit of a bond, and we get a little bit of backstory for Daryl as he was a kid and stuff. And I like how at the beginning of the episode they don't really care about each other too much, and then at the end of the episode they realize it's worth it to keep going, it's worth it to keep pushing on. I like that, but at the same time, look at the episode and look what you could have X'd out that episode completely, and you would have been perfectly fine. Honestly, you would have been perfectly fine, and that's, honestly, I feel very strongly about that. I think that, honestly, this episode could have been cut out completely, and yeah, honestly, what would you miss? You really wouldn't miss almost anything, And I believe still, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is one of the episodes that they aired during the Oscars. So usually when they have an episode air on the same night as the Oscars, they usually do like a bit of a lesser episode. But my goodness, like honestly, this was such a useless episode in my opinion. But anyway, maybe some people disagree. If so, I want to hear that in the comment section below. Number 4 is going to be Swear. Now, I know some people are going to be like, Dan, really? Swear at number 4? Shouldn't it be higher on the list? I know it's not an enjoyable episode. I'm still going to put it at the number 4 spot. But at the same time, I don't think this episode is, worthy of putting it at the number one spot just because it's not enjoyable, okay? That part we know. But the thing is I'm talking about here is that they introduce a community, so there is some kind of value to this episode. But the reason why I'm still going to put it on the list, I'm going to put it at number 4, is because it shouldn't have been a whole episode. They could have spliced this episode with Tara at the Oceanside for so much longer, at like maybe a little bit of episode 2, maybe a little bit of this episode, a little bit of this episode. Honestly, season 7, the biggest problem with season 7 is the bottle episodes. And I think this is the main bottle episode people did not like because we've never seen Tara lead an episode before. So it's a bit of an experiment type episode to see if people actually like Tara leading an episode. And I find it funny they never had Tara lead an episode again. And it's because this episode didn't do well. And, even though I don't think the enjoyment factor is horrible, I just think that, honestly, for the story, yes, there's a new community, but at the same time, the Heath storyline so far has gone nowhere after all these years. Tara and having a whole episode just with her, it's not something people wanted to see, and it's not something I think they should have done for an entire episode, and I look at it as a bit useless, and even more useless than Still, if you ask me. So, yeah, but that's just my opinion. Number 3 is going to be, and I feel like this number is going to be the part that really surprises people. Number 3 is going to be Season 8, Episode 7, Time for After. Honestly, I don't know what it is about this episode, guys. I actually enjoy this episode. I do. But when I look at this episode again, oh my goodness, this was useless. Honestly, Rick at the junkyard, they leave him anyway at the sanctuary in the next episode. They just bail on Rick in the next episode. So, Rick at the junkyard, trying to get them back on his side. It literally does not matter at all. And then the other thing about it as well is Daryl driving the truck through the sanctuary. Yeah, maybe you could say it was partly the reason why the Saviors got out of the sanctuary, but, I mean, first of all, that whole situation, honestly, was just dumb. Second of all, I don't think it really has a purpose because Eugene, according to Dwight, is the real reason why they got out of the sanctuary to begin with. So, Daryl driving the truck through, Daryl going through with this plan, it doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't really do anything that big for the story. And Eugene in the sanctuary, and this was kind of the big part a lot of people were talking about, Eugene in the sanctuary is the main reason why this is on the list, okay? Not only is it not enjoyable, let's be honest, but at the same time, the reason why this episode is pointless is because so many people are like, oh, is this going to be the episode where Eugene, he's conflicted, he doesn't know if he's going to help Rick or if he's going to continue to be on Negan's side? I honestly disagree. I think in this entire episode, there was no struggle with Eugene. I think Eugene was struggling whether or not to do the right thing, but he was on Team Negan the whole episode. You can't deny that. Eugene was on Team Negan throughout this whole episode. He was not even close to switching to that other side, until the second half of the season. So this episode, everything with Eugene, it literally did not have a purpose. You start the episode with Eugene being Negan, and you end the episode with Eugene being Negan. It doesn't change anything, So, in my opinion, this episode is a really big waste of time. Number 2 is going to be Season 6, Episode 13, The Same Boat. Okay, listen. I like Carol and I like Maggie, but I don't understand the point of this episode. The only thing this episode does for the story is make us think that Rick killed Negan at the end of the episode, apparently. I'm sorry I had to come to this. Which, if you're a comic reader, you know that's not Negan. So, that's even useless as well. And it literally starts at the beginning of the episode and it ends, and basically it starts, and by the end of it, everybody's back together, everybody's safe, and they're at the same exact spot they were at. Aside from just, a little bit of a side problem, Carol and Maggie have to take care of business, to take care of a couple saviors that captured them. And even though I did like Paula, I did like some of these characters, I, at the same time, do not understand why they did this episode. The rewatchability is really bad, and it's completely useless. The only thing that really matters is that Carol kind of breaks down in this episode and doesn't want to kill anymore, which we already established episodes before anyway, that she was already conflicted with that, So, I don't know. That's just not my favorite episode. And then my number 1, the episode I think is the most useless episode in the Walking Dead series is going to be Season 7, Episode 12, Say Yes. Okay, so, this episode is very enjoyable, and that's why it's weird that it's going to be at the number 1 spot. But the reason why this is the most useless episode of The Walking Dead, I'm just going to say, do we ever usually see our characters look for guns and have aimless, walking scenes and trying to find the guns and this and that, bring it back? They don't usually show that stuff in Walking Dead. They usually skip by it or have a montage of them getting guns for, an intro scene or something and then get to the point. They spent a whole episode looking for guns. They gave us a Rick fake-out, and the CGI deer honestly it honestly does not help this episode at all. And let me make this clear. You guys know Rick and Michonne are two of my favorite characters, so it is weird, and that is why I still enjoy this episode at times. It's very useless. We don't usually see episodes like this. It's a spacer episode. You can't deny it's not. And honestly, Rosita and the toy gun and her complaining to Gabriel, all filler scenes. It doesn't matter how you look at it, it's all filler. And this is what I'm talking about season 7 and filler. There's too much of it. And I feel like the main reason why there's so much filler in season 7 is because of the bottle episodes like these. Because if we spend time, maybe 5 minutes of this episode at Hilltop, 5 minutes at the Kingdom in this episode, 5 minutes at the Sanctuary in this episode, honestly, people would probably like this episode because you would be going from location to location to location. And I know for budget they can't do that. But honestly, do it Game of Thrones style. For once they can take a good advice from Game of Thrones. Switch around from locations. Game of Thrones did it. Walking Dead should do it. I think it's a great idea. Instead of having these bottle episodes, these side episodes, go from this location to this location to this location to this location. Honestly, do something like that because honestly, the fans will be really intrigued every episode to be like, okay, this community now. Oh, this is going on here now. This is going on. And people are going to think, wow, there's a lot going on in every single community. And people are going to be like, wow, I like the episode. Even if it's just them looking for guns and a few other locations and a few other scenes at these other locations. People would have liked it better. But because they had it, just Rick and Michonne, just them, just Rosita looking for guns, complaining to everybody like Rosita does in season 7, it's the most pointless episode of The Walking Dead in my personal opinion. And it has to be at the #1 spot. So, anyway, guys, I want to hear your comments in the comments section below. Do you agree with this list? Number 5 still, number 4 Swear, number 3 Time for After, number 2 The Same Boat, really useless one, that one. And then the most useless episode of Walking Dead, I would have to say Yes season 7 episode 12. So just my personal opinion. I want to hear your thoughts about this in the comment section below, guys. And of course, if you're new here, click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my Walking Dead videos. Follow Dan's Walking Reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, do you guys maybe want me to do a top 5 most useful episodes of The Walking Dead? The 5 episodes that are like crucial to the story, that are the most useful to the Walking Dead series. I want to hear that in the comment section below because I could do a list like that because most of the Walking Dead episodes are crucial to the story, but there are definitely a lot. And if I had to pick just 5, man, that'd be a struggle of a video. But I could do it. I could definitely pick out 5. So that are very, very important to the story. So if you guys want to see that, I may do that in another week or 2. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys really soon for another. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Anybody out there?